So, welcome everybody to a look at a very exciting release on a personal level and hopefully for you guys as well, and that is the Police Story Trilogy 1 through 3 from 1985 to 1992. And this is from Eureka, and I think it's their first 4K release effort that they've done, and they've done a stunning job on it, quite frankly, as all three films look incredible. And probably not a massive leap forward over the 4K restorations that they did in 2K for the first two films, but obviously that set didn't include the third film. I have it here, in fact, which I will be selling on eventually. But yeah, these were 4K restorations in 1080p presentation. So there's not a massive leap forward over those films, but they definitely do look better, especially when it comes to the clarity of the picture and the action scenes in general, which are given new life with the 4K format. And you get a whole host of extras on this as well, which we'll go through in a minute. But yeah, firstly, we'll talk about the films themselves. So, firstly, from 1985, we have obviously Police Story, starring Jackie Chan, directed by Jackie Chan. And it's about Officer Chan Kai Kwai, who manages to put a major Hong Kong drug dealer behind the bars practically alone after a shooting and an impressive chase scene inside a slum. Now, he must protect the boss secretary, Selena, who will testify against the gangster in court. Now, for the longest time, I had only ever seen the final action scene from this Hong Kong action film, which, despite being mightily impressive, it is thankfully not the only positive element of this effort. As the rest of the action scenes are also superb, especially the opening scene, which Michael Bay blatantly ripped off for Bad Boys 2. Where the Hummer and the other truck is going through the shanty town and explosions going off. This did it first and quite frankly better. And Jackie Chan is once again excellent, like he has been in previous films that I've seen, like Armour of God 2, Project A 1 and 2, Drunken Master. And it's also well paced. The plot is engrossing. The script manages to balance the comedy and serious aspects rather well. The production is solid and it is relentlessly entertaining throughout, especially when it comes to the really rather impressive stunts. So you get on this the printed disc as well, which is good to see, not the plain silver ones that you usually get on 4K releases. And the 4K presentation of this is the Hong Kong theatrical cut, in at 100 minutes long. It's also got Dolby Vision as well, HDR10 compatible. We also have the 1080p HD presentation of the alternate Police Force export cut, which clocks in at 88 minutes long. Not seen that version. And we also have an archival interview with Jackie Chan, alternate and deleted scenes, an archival Jackie Chan stunts promo, trailers, including the film's original theatrical and export trailers. So, all very good, quite frankly. And then from 1988, we have Police Story 2, which, going for a more action-orientated look on there with the explosion in the background. But once again, Jackie Chan has a gun in his hand. And the Hong Kong super cop must stop a group of blackmailing bombers at the same time that the villains of the first Police Story are out for revenge. So he's got two aspects to handle this time. So although this sequel doesn't quite have the iconic stunts of the prior film, it overall still manages to match the quality of that first effort while definitely having higher production value. Jackie Chan is once again excellent, while his role seems somewhat more varied in this outing. The action scenes, though not as quite as iconic, are still superb. It is well paced once again, has solid tension in the necessary areas, has an overall engrossing plot, has some funny moments, and it is entertaining throughout. So, it's once again a really superb effort. Not quite as good, like I said, as the first film. Slightly down, but not to the point where, you're getting annoyed by how the quality compares to that first effort. So, and once again, printed disc. A little slightly different to the actual cover itself. And again, 4K Ultra HD presentation of the extended cut of the film on this one. So it's not the Hong Kong cut, unfortunately, but you still do get the Hong Kong theatrical version in 1080p HD presentation. You also get a 1080p HD presentation of the alternate export version, clocking in at 95 minutes long. The Hong Kong version, by the way, is 16 minutes shorter than the theatrical the extended cut, which is 121 minutes long. You also get a brand new audio commentary with Asian film experts Frank Yang, and FJ DeSanto. Brand new audio commentary with action cinema experts Mike Galida and Arnie Vanema. You get the Hong Kong theatrical version, archive audio commentary with Miles Wood and Ju Poya. You also get export version classic English dub track. You also get Jackie Chan episode of Son of the Incredibly Strange Film Show, which is a documentary on Jackie Chan's early career. You also get an archival interview with actor and stuntman Benny Lai, outtakes, trailers including the film's original theatrical and export trailers. Some of the same kind of extras like you got in the first film, but still, more extras are always a good thing. And finally, from 1992, Police Story 3, Super Cop. So yeah, this also stars Michelle Yeoh alongside Jackie Chan. This is directed by Stanley Tong, is it? I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, isn't directed unfortunately by Jackie Chan this time round. I think he gave up directing after the 80s. So yeah, but still, fantastic film. And yeah, stars Michelle Yeoh alongside Jackie Chan, who was also in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Tomorrow Never Dies, Master Z, Ip Man Legacy, and obviously Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is easily one of the best films of the year so far. So there are 15 films in total, but they are the standouts for me personally. And yeah, it even mentions Everything Everywhere All at Once on the back of this as well, which shows how new of a release this actually is. So yeah, a Hong Kong detective teams up with his female red Chinese counterpart to stop a Chinese drug czar. So yeah, Jackie Chan's obviously the Hong Kong detective, and Michelle Yeoh is the red Chinese counterpart. And yeah, though this is relatively routine in its plot, it is surrounded by brilliant stunts, thrilling action, and plenty of humour. Chan also manages to be as likeable and as fun as ever, and he has really good chemistry with Michelle Yeoh, who is, yeah, just as able to keep up with Jackie Chan, quite frankly, and in some areas, I guess you could say, also outstands him. So, yeah, and yeah, once again, printed disc. We've actually one of the stunts on the actual disc itself, where Jackie Chan there is hanging below a helicopter. And yeah, once again, we get the 4K Ultra HD presentation of the original Hong Kong theatrical cut in at 96 minutes long. You also get the 1080p HD presentation of the US alternate cut, clocking in at 91 minutes long. You also get brand new audio commentary with Asian film experts that we've talked about before. Same with the brand new audio commentary with the action cinema experts that we talked about before. We get over an hour of interviews with director Stanley Tong, including a half-hour interview from the 2005 Cannes Film Festival, courtesy of the Frederick Ambrosian Video Archive. The ultra-violent Jackie Chan video games, brand new featurette on the rarely seen Jackie Chan video games Kung Fu Master and Fist of Fire. That's kind of interesting. Don't usually get other forms of media that are based on a film talked about in extras, really. And yeah, you also get a Police Story location guide, brand new featurette looking at the various film locations of the Police Story trilogy. This one has a more varied scenes, locales, because it's not just set in Hong Kong, it's a bit more of a worldwide extravaganza in that regard. We go to Kuala Lumpur, for instance, at one point. And yeah, you got a brand new interview with stunt coordinator and action film historian John Crane. And you also got archival interview with Jackie Chan, archival interview with Michelle Yeoh, archival interview with Jackie Chan's longtime bodyguard and co-star Ken Lo. You got outtakes, a huge selection of NG, no good shots from the film, and trailers and TV spots, including original, Japanese, and export version trailers. So, yeah, there's a whole host of extras on these films, which is great to see, quite frankly. It really does make getting it a bit worthwhile more. A bit extra worthwhile, should I say, because it wasn't cheap. I think it was about £61, which is obviously quite a lot, but you do, as per usual with these releases, get a really nice hard box, which, yeah, has that on the side, so it'll look good on its side like that on my shelf. And, yeah, also get a really nice booklet as well, which is nearly 100 pages long, has on its contents the credits for all three films. Then you've got a bunch of write-ups. You've got The Changing Faces of Jackie Chan by David West. You got A Policeman's Lot by James Oliver. Then you got Police Story Production, BTS stills and artwork. Then you got Back on the Beat, also by James Oliver. You got Police Story 2 production stills and artwork. The Chinese Connection, also by James Oliver. And then you got Police Story 3 BTS stills and artwork, as well as viewing notes and release credits. So yeah, let's take a look at some of this. So yeah, what we got? Yeah, talk about the aspect ratio of the films and stuff, and then you've got a bunch of the posters in here as well from the films themselves, which is nice to see. I'm always a fan of film posters. Let's take a look. So some posters, I imagine there. I think this is from the third one. Yeah, because it's Michelle Yeoh's on them there, so that's really nice. And yeah, you also get posters for the rest of the films as well as obviously shots from the film. So that's Jackie Chan himself, and yeah, there's more posters. There's the there's Police Story 2 posters there. Where's this first one? Yeah, and then you got the first one of the posters as well. I do love seeing the different kind of posters that different countries or different companies that release these kind of films can come up with. They're always pretty fun. This one here is the one that is used on Letterboxd, for instance. So yeah, all really really decent. And then obviously you do get shots from the films themselves, and obviously behind the scenes and stuff like that. So it's all a very interesting read. And yeah, there's Jackie Chan himself on a megaphone, obviously directing. So yeah, really nicely done booklet, really nicely done release. The films themselves look all fantastic, and yeah, even though it is a little bit expensive, and obviously we've already had the first two from Eureka on Blu-ray, I still think it's a worthwhile release, especially since you get all three films together. Though granted, you can also buy the third film separate. You can get that separately on Blu-ray and 4K, so you don't have to get the other two on 4K if you don't wish. But I think since the first two are also equally as good, or not if better in terms of the first film, then yeah, it's well worth getting all three together. So yeah, highly recommended release. And yeah, like I said, for Eureka's first 4K effort, they've knocked it out of the park, and I really am looking forward to seeing what else they bring out on 4K, because they've brought out a huge number of great films on Blu-ray already, so I'll be more than happy to have my favourites from their Blu-ray releases get the 4K treatment, especially in the likes of Samuel Fuller or even the kaiju films like Mothra. That'd be amazing. But yeah, regardless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.